sure you download CBS17.com. But we're going to head out to that press conference in Wake County with the very latest on the trench collapse.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Chris Iannuzzi. I'm Deputy Fire Chief of the Durham Fire Department. This is Seth Kamansky. He's the Operations Chief of Wake County EMS. This morning at 11:02 a.m., the Durham and Raleigh Fire Departments and Wake County EMS were dispatched to a trench collapse rescue. The address here is 4209 Corners Parkway. Initially, 6 workers were reported as being trapped. After talking with workers on the scene, it was later revealed that there were 4 workers in the trench at the time it was collapsed. 1 got out on his own. 1 was extricated fairly quickly by fire crews and was walked to Wake County EMS on his own. The 3rd victim was just removed. I don't know his condition, and there is still 1 worker reported in the trench.
Chief, is there the 3rd one that was removed? He is alive?
I believe he's alive, yes.
Is
he
there
is alive.
hope that the 4th person is as well?
I don't know the answer to that one.
What's the conditions you're working in that you worked in for the 4th person? Are you dealing with trying to get the 4th person out?
Yeah, right now they are digging, and they've got a vacuum truck that helps get the dirt out. I don't know at what stage. I've been over here for the last 5 minutes. I don't know what stage they are on that 4th worker.
And how badly covered was he in that collapse?
Which one are you talking about? The 4th one? I believe he was completely covered.
Chief, can you explain to people what they're installing underground gasoline tanks? Is that correct?
Actually, I do not know what they are doing. It appears that it's a gas station that's being built. It could be something like that.
Explain to people what we're looking at here. Is it a trench? Is it a big hole? How deep is it?
It's a trench. I do not know. This was kind of quick to get this. I do not know what the dimensions of that trench were at the time that it collapsed. Right now, it appears to be about 6 to 8 feet deep, where the level of the soil is where they are working.
So enough to cover a human being?
Yes.
Were any of the people that have been extracted completely buried?
I do not know the answer to that. I know initially I heard radio traffic that 2, they saw 2. I don't know what they saw after that, but I do know that 3 have been brought out alive.
Can you tell us a little bit of background on your guys and how they're trained for this kind of thing?
All the people that are working right now are members of both the Durham and the Raleigh Fire Department, and they are part of the Urban Search and Rescue Task Force team. So they train regularly on trench collapses, one of the specialties that they do work on.
Did you immediately notice anything that could be a violation? Lack of trench walls, anything?
I did not.
Do we know what the name of the company is that they're working?
I don't know if we have that.
Talk about the conditions they were seeing. I saw a number of firefighters working to try and reinforce the walls down there.
Yeah, anytime that we go, first of all, there was a collapse. So anytime that we're going to now go in, they've got to make it safe for the response personnel. So if there is shoring that needs to be done before we go in and make sure there's not going to be a further collapse, they will do that. They will shore if they have to, using our equipment or whatever equipment that they brought in.
When we say collapse, does it mean the wall that they were digging kind of fell in? Did the ground sink? What happened here?
It's usually, I'm going to imagine in this case, that the walls collapsed. That's typically what happens in a trench collapse.
Do you have any ideas on the types of entries for any of these workers?
I'm going to let Chief Kamansky answer that, because he may have additional information. Otherwise, I don't know what the injuries to these patients were, if you can even speak to it.
If you would say your name again, please.
Sure. It's Seth Kamansky. Last name's Kamansky, K-O-M-A-N-S-K-Y.
What was the first name again?
Seth.
S-E-T-H?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please tell us what you know.
So we arrived on scene alongside with the fire department. We do have several USAR medical specialists who are also part of the Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 8. They are operating in the hall currently alongside the fire department, providing care to the patients that are currently trapped. We've currently transported 2 patients to Duke University Medical Center. They are alive at this point. I'm not familiar with what their conditions are. They've transported out, and actually, if you hear the sirens in the background, that's one of the patients leaving at this point.
Is there hope that everybody's going to survive?
I can't speculate on the condition of the fourth person so far. They are working very hard to get access to make a confirmation.
Chief kind of mentioned it. Are you guys involved in the urban rescue thing? Are you trained for this? What do you do?
Yes, sir. We have two. Right now, we have two paramedics who are currently embedded with the USAR team on site here that are specially trained to work in these conditions. They're trained to work in the trench environment as well as many other specialty environments. Have a certain set of protocols that they can work under and provide the same care we would in the back of a truck to a patient that's in this subgrade environment.
What's the biggest challenge the crews are facing as they try and locate that fourth person?
That would be a question for the fire department at this point.
I believe they have the location. I'm not sure because I haven't been over there recently, but I really just don't have any ability to answer the question. Yeah.
Was there any communication, the third and fourth worker, was there any communication you guys were able to have with them while this was ongoing, or?
The third one, they may have because they were right there with him. I don't know about the location of the fourth one, if they know where he is or if they've got hands on him or not.
Chief, we're seeing people from Raleigh, Durham, Wake, Durham County. Who's actual? Where are we?
Yeah, this is like the perfect storm of confusion. The location is actually in Wake County. But it is in the city of Durham limits. It was annexed into the city of Durham. The Durham Fire Department is the primary response agency here, but we also get mutual aid response from the Raleigh Fire Department because they've got a fire station also right down the road. So we can have more personnel on the scene immediately. And Wake, since it is Wake County, EMS function in the state of North Carolina is done by the county. So even though it's city of Durham limits, it is Wake County, is a Wake County EMS response. So there is a bit of confusion about that, but that is the explanation for it.
The city of Durham and Wake County.
We are in the city of Durham in Wake County, correct.
Once again, could you describe the trench again, the length of it, the depth of it again?
I don't have the dimensions of it, and I was really just guessing, looking at from standing, 20 feet away, and I can see the heads of our people in there. I'm guessing that it was 6 to 8 feet deep where they were working. Now that doesn't account. That may be boards because they do have a ramp in there. They've got other equipment. So how deep it was at the time, I do not know.
Do you have any information about the company involved?
I do not.
How much longer do you think you may have to be out here?
I don't know. It really depends on how long it takes to get that fourth victim out and then any other recovery efforts after that. Any other questions?
Thank you, Joe.
Okay. Thank you. As we get an update, I don't know that there'll be another press briefing necessarily, but as we get updates on that fourth person or anything else that is material, I'll shoot that out to everybody as well. You'll get it in your newsrooms. All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks.
I'm going to just write from your badge, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I've spelled it during the gas explosion. I spelled it about 20 times, and I've forgotten.
There it is. That is the very latest from the scene after a trench collapse there over in Wake County. He was even explaining the differences, why there were so many different responding groups just because of the location there. We know that one person is still stuck inside. We are going to keep a close eye on things.